In this presentation, I want to share with you some tips on how you can develop a resume. What is a resume? A resume is a personal summary of your professional history and qualifications. It includes information about your career goals, education, work experience, activities, awards or honors, and any special skills you might have. Key components of a resume should include a header, an objective statement, your education background or information, your skills, awards, and certifications, your work experience, and your references. Additional components that could be included are personal skills and assets, honors, awards, and activities, community service, foreign language proficiency, computer skills and applications, volunteer experiences, and prospective colleges and universities if applicable. Your resume outlines your skills and work experiences so an employer can see at a glance how you can contribute to their organization. Your resume should be written to catch the attention of an employer and get you an interview. It takes 30 seconds or less for an employer to decide whether your resume ends up in the consider file or the reject file. While you may have all the requirements for a particular job, if the employer does not quickly come to the conclusion that you have what it takes, then your resume has failed. Here are some hidden messages of a resume. If your resume is neat, then you are neat. If your resume is well organized, then you are well organized. If your resume is error-free, then you are viewed as a person who pays close attention to detail. If your resume has a professional appearance, then you are viewed as a person who is careful and competent. Consider the following when formatting and perfecting the appearance of your resume. Make your name stand out with a bold, larger font size. Use a standard font such as Times New Roman, and the font size should be 12 point. Print on white, beige, or light gray quality bond paper or cardstock paper. And use a laser printer for the best finish. Before we go any further, keep in mind the following. There are many formatting options for a resume. Choose the one you like best and go with it. There are other sections and information you could include in a resume that are not included in this presentation. This presentation is only meant to guide you to develop a resume. The header of your resume should include your name, which should be large and bold so that it stands out. It should also include your permanent or present address. It should also include your telephone or cell phone number. Your voicemail message should be professional sounding because this may be the potential employer's first impression of you. It should also include your email address. The email address that you include on your resume should be professional looking because this may be the potential employer's first impression of you. sexygirlforever@hotmail.com is an example of an email address that would not be appropriate for your resume. The header of your resume is located at the top of the page. Here are some examples of some sample headers. What is an objective statement? An objective statement is a one-sentence summary of the position you desire. It should be short, specific, and tailored for the position. What does an objective statement do? It should communicate the type of position you are interested in. It clarifies the purpose of your resume. And it presents a clear statement of your goals. Here are some sample objective statements. To obtain a part-time position at a spa or salon. To obtain a position as a receptionist at a veterinarian's office. To obtain a position as a customer service representative at a call center. To obtain a position as a hostess at an upscale restaurant. To obtain a part-time job or summer internship at a communications firm. To obtain a part-time retail sales position in a clothing store. This is an example of an objective statement as shown on a resume. Consider the following when developing your educational background information. Begin with the most recent information and work backward. High school students should consider listing their current high school GPA. For those who have graduated from college, refer to the information on the following slides. For a college student, include the following: the name of the institution. Include the city and the state if it is not part of the title. The name of your degree and major. Bachelor of blank in blank, or Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, Accounting. List degrees in reverse chronological order. Your most recent degree should be listed first. The date or expected date of your graduation. It could be shown as graduation date May 2014 or anticipated graduation date May 2015. Next, show your GPA, your major or overall GPA if it is at least a 3.2. Round down to the nearest tenth, for example, 3.2, not 3.262. It could be shown as GPA 4.0 summa cum laude. Then include your high school information. For a high school student, include the following: the name and location of your high school, your major or minor and your area of concentration, your graduation date or your anticipated graduation date, your GPA if it is at least a 3.2 or higher, relevant coursework. See the next slide for more information. Your special honors or recognitions. For example, if you are a completer in a CAPE program, if you are on the A or AB honor roll, or if you earn perfect attendance. List relevant courses that help you stand out from the crowd, that have provided you with specific skills or knowledge, or that are related to a job you are applying for. Examples would include 4 years of Spanish, computer science, marketing, economics. Let's look at this example a little bit further. A management student, Terry, took the courses listed above in red to supplement his management degree. He would like to work in sales, and listing these classes helps Terry to support his claim that he has strong communication skills. Do not include courses that are part of a required curriculum, for example, English. Include courses that are at an advanced level if they are relevant to the position, for example, biology or calculus. Here is what the education section of a resume could look like on a resume. Here is another example of what the education section of a resume could look like on a resume. This is an example of what the education section of a resume would look like on a resume. Skills are not just a list of duties performed, but are specific and results-oriented. Examples of skills are: promoted from host to waiter in 2 months, proficient in Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, Adobe Photoshop. Wrote a high school newsletter youth column for 3 years. Awards include recognitions for achievements in and out of school. School awards are certificates such as A or AB honor roll, perfect attendance, sports awards. Volunteer or community recognitions. Certifications earned in your career and technology course, such as OSHA or soft skills. If you happen to have some sort of specialized skill that relates to the job you are applying for, special attention needs to be given to this section so that those specialized skills stand out. You should not include skills that are required or expected for applicants to have. Specialized skills include skills that make you unique, such as computer skills, foreign language skills, or military service. Be specific in describing your specialized skills. Name computer programs you know, how long you studied a foreign language, or the dates of your military service. The personal skills and assets section of a resume could be a couple of sentences or bullet points that describe what you are like as a person and how you do things. It could include personality traits, attitudes, work habits. This is a useful section, especially if you do not have much work experience. Think of the skills you use in school that employers want: punctuality, time management, teamwork. Here are some examples of personal skills and assets that you could include on a resume. Here is an example of the personal skills and assets section on a resume. This is an example of the personal skills and assets section of a resume as shown on a resume. The personal skills and assets section, if included, would normally be included after your objective statement and before your education information. Here is an example of the skills section on a resume. The skills section of your resume would appear after your education information. Here is an example of a skills section as shown on a resume. List former jobs and names of employers from wherever you have worked. Include informal jobs you have had, such as gardening or babysitting, especially if they relate to the job you are applying for. Include any internships or job shadowing you have completed. Remember, work experience can include paid part-time or full-time positions, internships, volunteer work or community service, and summer jobs. Here are the guidelines for duties, responsibilities, and accomplishments you should include in the work experience section of your resume. Include most relevant skills you have developed. Most relevant information should come first. Use strong action verbs. Provide evidence of skills by listing certificates you have earned and acknowledging accomplishments and evaluations. Here are some examples of work experience sections that could appear on a resume. Here is an example of a resume with a work experience section shown. Many times, job ads will specify whether or not employers want the names and addresses of an applicant's references included on the resume. You should read job ads carefully to determine how to present your references for any given job you are planning on applying for. It is a good idea for you to compile a separate reference sheet that you can send out along with your resume if references are requested. If your resume is strong, it is enough to state that references are available upon request or to include as an addendum. Choose references that are knowledgeable about your skills, abilities, and work ethics. Former employers, teachers, and counselors would be good references. Your friends and relatives would not be good references. Always obtain permission from references in advance and provide them a copy of your current resume. You should not assume that someone is willing to serve as a reference for you, and you should definitely contact those you would like to include as a reference on your resume before including them on the reference sheet. It is also helpful for you to briefly describe how you know a reference on the reference sheet so that the employer will know the kind of information a given reference can provide. Here are some examples of references that could be shown on a resume and how they would appear on a resume. Here is an example of a resume that has references shown. Notice the location of the references on this resume. What are some things you should consider when developing your resume? Use 1-inch margins. Use a consistent format. Use bullet information and not paragraphs. All caps and boldface text make important words or sections stand out. Make headers and contact information larger or bold. Make your resume easy to read. Use an easy-to-read font. Times New Roman size 12 point font works best. What are some resume killers? Spelling errors, typos, poor grammar. Poor presentation. A resume that has poor formatting, is too wordy, or printed on poor paper. A cluttered resume with non-essential information. A resume that turns out to include misrepresentations. An unprofessional email address included on the resume. A resume that simply shows you are unqualified for the job. Before you begin developing your resume, consider the following. Look at a lot of different resumes online to get an idea of how varied they can be and to provide you with ideas on the formatting of your resume and any additional information that you could include. Check and see if the company you are applying to or the industry it is in has a preferred resume style. Have someone proofread your resume. If there are any mistakes, the prospective employer will stop reading and put your resume in the rejected pile. Resumes evolve over time. Continue to update your resume. Good resumes get interview opportunities. Your interview performance secures the job and not your resume. Always submit a cover letter with your resume. A resume does not get you a job. A resume does get you an interview. Putting time and consideration into your resume is one of the best ways to prepare for your interview. And finally, and most importantly, proofread your resume. Refer to the resources provided to assist you in developing your resume.